But let's get into Dynamite. Let's get into how, I don't think I even mentioned this yet, Bobby Lashley. Large Bob, Big Bob is all elite, to no one's surprise. And what we saw last night was the third match of Shelton Benjamin's AEW career and his first loss, taking on Swerve Strickland, who we haven't seen in the ring in quite some time. Swerve trying to, get back, get right. Now, he hasn't wrestled since the cage match with Hangman. Saw him at Wrestle Dream, but this was Swerve getting back in there. And they had a very good match. I don't know if it had all of the heat you would want. I don't know if it had enough of the juice that you might want. I will say that I thought the crowd was very good all night long. I think they were there when certain moments happened. I thought they were there for Swerve's entrance. I think that is a very telling part. Sometimes it's good if you want an assessment of where things are at. And I'm not saying this is the end-all, be-all. Hit mute when somebody walks out. You want to see where they're at? It's two exercises, really. Hit mute when somebody walks out. And watch the crowd. And see who's sitting, and see who's standing, and see who's into it. Then do it again. But close your eyes and listen. Does it feel like the vibe shifts? Does it feel like the atmosphere shifts? Because you could tell when people are in and they're not in. Swerve has gone beyond the dance, the na-na dance. And obviously it's important to have an entrance that people can get into, and he has that. But he follows it up, and there's a cool factor. I did notice last night, and Swerve keeps it moving. He doesn't stick with one look. He's worn different looks. He had, the AEW championship shirt he wore out for the match against Bryan, and he's wore the fur coats, and he's, last night was a little bit more of a dressed down Swerve, more of a simple jacket. And I'm not trying to read into that too much, but it didn't seem like he was as over the top. He was also high-fiving a little bit more, which is not what I expected from Swerve, but he's the babyface, and they have a good match. And Swerve wins. Not a total surprise, and MVP makes the call. And something happened with the lights. I don't know if it was a mix-up in production, and then with very strong theme music, Bobby Lashley comes out. And they get the face-off with Swerve, and they get the beatdown. And those guys, much like they did when they were pushed and presented correctly as the Hurt Business, looked good again last night. Now, I'm not going to analyze anything else. Not, we've seen this before. Not, how does this fit in AEW? I'm not talking about any of that yet, and we will get to that. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you feel about Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, MVP, back together, Hurt Syndicate business, whatever you want to call it. Just those three guys together. How did that come off to you? Are you excited about that? What I want to discuss before we get into the bigger picture is just if I saw those guys and I saw the angle to close the show in a vacuum, not comparing it to anything else, not comparing it to what they've done, not comparing it to the many other heel groups in AEW, I thought they looked damn good. I thought they came across as dangerous. I thought they came across as badasses. I thought when Hurt Business and WWE, even though it was in the Thunderdome era and the pandemic, when those guys hit, they hit well. They looked legit. It's very obvious why people wanted that group to come back. That group back together with fans, we should have got. That's a miss. And I've heard Bobby's interviews and talking about Omos and talking about Gunther and talking about Cross. I'm not saying all his ideas were good, but for some reason, they didn't want to put those guys back together. They didn't want to present that group, even though they got over in front of nobody. They came together during the pandemic, basically, and didn't get to come out of the pandemic back together, and that should have happened. So you know what? I'm not a huge fan of putting acts back together that were somewhere else all the time. It's got to be done correctly. But we didn't get enough of the original Hurt Business the first time around. So I am happy that we are getting it in front of fans this time around with a chance to see it through, with a chance to see if this group can be money-making, if this group can be an attraction, if this group can add to AEW. Because they're unlike anything AEW has right now in terms of their backgrounds, where they come from, how they're presented. But now they get a chance to do this in front of a crowd. My only issue, because I thought everything they executed last night was a strong start. The issue to deal with is that at the same time you are creating this heel Hurt Business, you have Jon Moxley's crew doing what they're doing. And that's unfortunate timing. Now, the key to me to Moxley's group is the unpredictable nature. And you have to keep that up. So far, they have targeted baby faces. They haven't gone after heels. And that's by design. That's why I wrote an article about the 5 baby faces that Jon Moxley needs to face in his reign. There can be no question that they are the bad guys. And I would continue to go in that direction. I don't know if he was instructed to say this. I don't know if he was just using wrestling logic. But Daddy Magic, who was stepping in for Taz as one of the color commentators, just kind of spits out, where's Moxley's group now? And I immediately went back to Hurt Business confronting Retribution. The only time Retribution came off as interesting was when Hurt Business walked down that aisle. We've talked about it on this show many times before. Undoing the cufflinks, taking off the jacket. The 4 of us are going to go beat up 10 people. Maybe there is that face-off way down the line of the Hurt Syndicate, whatever they're going to call them, and Moxley's group. Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the Wrestling Mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody under the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did, just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette. And
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.